In my area, dandelions have been in full bloom for a couple of weeks at this point, and each year I like to go out and harvest a bunch of dandelion flowers, right? In my garden or in the yard around the property, a bunch of dandelions tend to bloom, and those yellow flowers can be really useful for making a whole bunch of delicious dishes. In this video, I just want to go through a basic, very simple, and yet very delicious, in my opinion, recipe to share with you. So the dandelion is, commonly referred to as a weed to many gardeners. It can crop up in a lot of gardens and may be disruptive in some cases. It has a fairly deep taproot, so it can gain access to a lot of different nutrients that are deeper down in the soil profile that maybe certain other plants might not always have access to. This plant, when in flower, can also be attractive to a bunch of different beneficial insects, some of our pollinators, and some of our predatory insects as well. Additionally, when this plant goes to seed, this seed is very attractive to various bird species such as the goldfinch. So if you want to see more birds on your landscape, maybe let some of these weeds, maybe let some more of these weeds like thistles, dandelions, etc., be able to grow, go to flower, and set seed. Especially certain thistle species are actually native to North America, and so they can help to support some of these native bird species. So each spring around late April to early May, the dandelion tends to be in flower in my area. That's a time that I really look forward to because I can go out there quickly and easily just pluck off the dandelion flowers, right? We're looking for those yellow flower heads, not the puffball seed heads, just for clarification. And so I collect those in a bowl, I bring them inside, and all I have to do is I just pinch off the flower base. It's called like a bract or something, right? So I collect the yellow flower petals, and if there's a little bit of like the green leafy stuff in there too, it's okay. It's not gonna affect the flavor that much. It's a fairly straightforward process, and those blossom bases, I'll just collect, put those in the compost where they can break down and be returned to the soil eventually. Then once I have the separated dandelion flower petals, I will then add in 2 eggs and mix them together pretty well with like a fork or a spoon, and usually it'll be like 1.5 cups to 2 cups of these dandelion flower petals should be plenty for 2 eggs to handle, right? So you have enough emulsification going on there. It might not seem like it at first, but once you mix those 2 ingredients together, pretty well over time, they'll start to mix and emulsify into a cohesive mass that you can then form into a pancake type shape. So I'll usually mix it together, probably it'll take 3 to 5 minutes or so, and then I'll transfer that into a pan, right, that has already been oiled with whatever your cooking oil is, or butter, whatever you use, and I'll turn that on medium heat, and then I'll add in that that patty type pancake thing. And once it's in the pan, that's usually when I really start to like form it, flatten it out, get it to the shape that I want, and let it cook. So then I'll turn the heat down a little lower and let it cook to like 10 to 15 minutes or so. Don't quote me on that part, just keep checking it regularly, making sure there's enough oil in the pan, it's not sticking to the bottom, basic stuff like that. And then once I feel that side is done, I'll flip it onto the other side and let it cook on the other side for approximately the same amount of time. Now, the cooking time can kind of vary, especially if you're harvesting dandelion blossoms on a dry, sunny day versus a wet and rainy day, right? If you are harvesting these blossoms on a wet and rainy day, may change that cooking time and the consistency a little bit. So that's one thing to keep in mind. I usually try to harvest dandelion blossoms when it's drier and sunny, not to mention that's also when a lot more dandelion blossoms are open. So then once I've finished cooking both sides, I will take it off heat and I'll put the lid on that pan, and I will let it sit there, and I will let the pancake sit there in the pan for about 15 to 20 minutes or so, just so the inside of that is able to cook and emulsify and bind together and stuff. And then at that point, it is ready to eat. And it's very delicious at that, right? You can eat it as is, you can eat it as a pancake, you know, with like maple syrup or whatever, or you could use it as a base for like a miniature homemade pizza type thing. I know that's one thing that I've really enjoyed, but whole bunch of different uses for sure. Thank you so much for checking out this video on how I make these dandelion pancake type things. It's a recipe that I've come to look forward to each year. It's a very cool base recipe that can be used in a lot of other dishes. You know, if you want to like flatten it out and use it almost like a tortilla or, you know, piece of sandwich bread, or, you know, or even, you know, dare I say, like a pizza crust, and then you can put like tomato sauce on that, or, and, you know, cheese or whatever else. So a really versatile base recipe that tastes really good, and, you know, it's really just two ingredients, right? 3 if you count the oil that you cook it in, right? But thank you so much for checking out this video, and I look forward to seeing you in a future video. Take care.